hone in on and accentuate what's positive there, and maybe negate what can hurt him and get rid of that. So if Mark Breland can help this guy do all those things, I'd say, you know what, it's a hard argument to say, hey, guess what? This guy's 40-0 with what, 39, 38 knockouts? There's not too much you can look to really alter, except just to enhance and make sure that he does keep his balance. The guy didn't leave his feet, and I give him credit. And I was not saying that anybody 6'7" is not athletic or doesn't have athleticism. I'm just saying that whole coordination fashion, when your legs are supposed to be underneath you and everything else, it's hard in a fight game when you're that tall to keep it all underneath you in that way, unless you have the exceptional positive ability to do so, like Deontay Wilder does. He's an athlete.
Yeah, well,
yeah,
I got news for you. All I'm going to say is this: your statement about 6 foot. I guess you've never watched football, NFL football, or basketball, because this guy's that big and bigger that have way better footwork than him. You know, it's. I mean, come on, Sal. Come on. All I'm saying is that, you know, his body and his athletic build is more towards NBA, in my opinion. But nonetheless, listen, and for anybody that's missed the first part of the show, I don't know what the hell happened with our stream, but the bottom line is, if you're tuning in late, Deontay Wilder knocked out Luis Ortiz 2 minutes and 5 seconds of the 10th round in what I thought was a fantastic fight. I'm giving Deontay Wilder all the credit in the world. What I was saying was that this is a guy that really doesn't show anything in terms of boxing ability except for punching power. Now, with that said, though, he took out a top, in my opinion. Forget about the age, forget about the layoff, forget about all of that. You got to give Deontay Wilder credit for not only winning, but winning in the fashion in which he did. And, oh, by the way, he was on his way to Dream Street. How he stayed up. And like I said in the beginning, in case you missed it, I'm giving Deontay Wilder all credit. He proved that he's got heart, and that's something that a lot of fighters that say they're their best never really prove that they actually have the heart they say they have. Deontay proved that to me on Saturday. He proved that he had heart. He proved that he had determination. And they had a game plan that I feel, well, I don't know what their game plan was, but it looked to me that Deontay Wilder had one thing in mind: knock the guy out with my right hand. When he got in trouble, that's all he did. He wasn't trying any defense. He wasn't trying to move. All he was trying to do was time Luis Ortiz to nail him with the right. Eventually, it came. Where does that take him? I mean, is there any other heavyweights that are going to beat this guy? Is there somebody that can counter? Sal and I also discussed the fact that Luis Ortiz was a southpaw. Also, tough for an orthodox fighter to deal with. Did he prove anything other than his punching power on Saturday night? That's the question we have to ask ourselves. Did he prove anything other than punching power, in your opinion, Sal?
Bill, yeah, and like I said, just let me also, by all means, what I suggested earlier. I was just trying to defend when you said he has got no boxing or no footwork.
That's my opinion. That's my opinion. He's got no footwork, Sal. He's got no footwork when it comes to a boxer.
And all I was just suggesting, as I said, a guy his size, he doesn't have to look like a ballerina. And he did what he had to do to get in, to get out. And I'm going to tell you something else, Bill. You know what he did? He was hurt early enough in a round by Ortiz, where he knew well enough to hold on, close the distance, and do what he had to do to survive that round. And like I said,
he didn't hold on. And I'll tell you one thing that I was shocked about Luis Ortiz. Luis Ortiz, with a guy that was supposed to have all the experience he had in the amateurs, when he was in trouble, not once did he try to hold on. Not once. He didn't even know to hold on. Now, Deontay, when he was in real bad trouble prior to that one, well, actually, in that 7th round, he clinched and held and did everything. I mean, at least he knew that.
Well, he did, but that's what I'm saying. That comes innate. And let's give both these guys some credit on this level. Remember, they're both undefeated. And guess what? I don't think they've ever been in that position before where they were looking for that life preserver, like, holy smoke, what just happened? What do I do next? And sometimes when a fighter first gets hurt like that in the middle of a fight, your instincts take over and you do what you got to do. And for Carlos Ortiz, this may have been the first time he was really rattled. Come on. If we didn't see it happen to him before. The guy's undefeated. The guy's a very special fighter. Deontay Wilder in his own right now, I've got to say, he's a very special fighter. And that's all I was saying, that these guys have both faced the first times in their career a situation. And like I said the other day before the fight, I said, we haven't seen the best Deontay Wilder as of yet because of the dance partner. And guess what? I think we've had a lot of questions answered. I think we've seen the better of the best of what we've seen from Deontay thus far, and let's give both fighters the credit they're due. Luis Ortiz was a phenomenal opponent, a great guy. I thought he wouldn't make it out of the 6th round because I didn't see much, but guess what? He proved me wrong and shut me out. The guy is a champion. The guy's a fighter. The guy has a heart, and he has a hell of a punch. And for Deontay Wilder, all I'm going to say is, congratulations, my hat's off to you. I think he shut up a lot of people. He takes a great punch. He takes this and that, and he does have to work a little bit on closing the distance. But the guy, like I said, both fighters were facing for the first time in their career what it's like to get their brains really rattled and get up and keep the distance. One held and one didn't know what to do. So let's give them some credit, both of them.
First of all, we saw the best Deontay Wilder on Saturday night, and we're not going to see a better one. He's not going to improve. He can't improve. If he didn't listen, and he may not have to. That's the truth. He may not have to improve. True. He might be able to get by with exactly what he's doing right now. But make no mistake, this is a guy with terrible footwork. I don't know what you're watching. He has no defense, and I got news for you. Despite him having, I think, a good jab, he doesn't use it enough. The guy, and you know as well as anyone, when push comes to shove and you're in trouble and you're in a war and you're in this and you're in that, you go back to what comes naturally to you. And what Deontay Wilder showed me is that this guy is going to depend on his knockout punch forever. Now, with that said, it worked for him on Saturday night. I read Wilder's quote earlier. I know some people, we were having some issues, thanks to YouTube because they suck. But, Deontay Wilder said a true champion always finds a way to come back, and that's what I did tonight. Luis Ortiz definitely is a crafty guy. He put up a great fight. We all knew we had to wear him down. I showed everyone I could take a punch. He was hitting me with those ferocious punches, but they didn't have any sting on him. He was throwing combos that knocked me off balance. I just had to get my range back and my fundamentals back, and I was able to do it. I showed that I was a true champion. I believe he did show that he was a true champion. As far as getting his distance and everything, I said earlier, he did not get his distance, not once in the fight. I think that that's one thing. If they could work on one thing, they have to show Deontay Wilder how to utilize his distance, because that's something that he did not do. And a harder punching fighter will give him trouble. But it is what it is. He won the fight. He won it in dramatic fashion. What can you say? Credit and hats off to Deontay Wilder. Ortiz said it was a great fight. I performed well. I thought I was up on the scorecards going into the 10th round, but it's heavyweight boxing. You never know what's going to happen. I almost had him, and I think if there would have been a few more seconds in that round, I would have. And like I always say, if my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle. The truth of the matter is that Luis Ortiz performed well, but not well enough. We don't get participation trophies in world title fights. If he's looking for a pat on the back, he got it, but he wasn't able to close the door. He wasn't able to complete the job, and Deontay Wilder was. So, the credit goes to Deontay Wilder, not to Luis Ortiz. Luis Ortiz at least brought something out in Wilder that I didn't know existed. I was glad to see that he had heart. He did look a little nervous in there in the beginning of the fight. He did look like he didn't know what was going to happen. But as time went on, Luis Ortiz tired out, and that was the equalizer. When Ortiz was quiet, a little bit tired, he was able to slow down just a bit for Deontay to start to catch him. Wilder. Now the big question is, how does, after this performance, does Wilder match up with Anthony Joshua better? I think so. I think that Deontay Wilder has that punch. And when you look at Anthony Joshua, his main weaknesses are defense and a suspect chin. So those two weaknesses that AJ has fit right into the only strength that Deontay has, and that is punching power. And patience. He seems to have patience waiting. I just wonder why Luis Ortiz didn't fight more inside. I said that the game plan should have been for him fighting inside, and when he was inside, Deontay Wilder couldn't do anything. It was when he was on his, away where Ortiz couldn't land a punch, Wilder did. So I don't know. I think that we saw the best Wilder, Sal. I don't think we're going to see a better one than that. It is what it is. I know you got a comment, so hold that thought. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll continue. Deontay Wilder's victory over Luis Ortiz.
Billy C will be right back.
Broken air conditioning, $4,400. Failing refrigerator, $2,500. Don't let outrageous repair and replacement bills like these bust your budget. Get the First American Home Warranty Plan. And when a covered appliance or system breaks, we'll repair it or replace it for you.
We had a high-end dishwasher go kaput. They put it in a brand new dishwasher.
We have plans that cover air conditioning, most appliances, plus heating, plumbing, electrical systems, and much more. Plans start as low as $25 a month. Why let a major appliance or system breakdown bust your budget or go through the hassle of finding trustworthy service people? Last year alone, we saved our customers over $120 million. Don't wait until something breaks and you're stuck with a huge bill.
You save a lot of money. It's absolutely worth it.
If you don't have First American Warranty, get it.
Call 1-800-946-6234 for your free no-obligation quote.
Need relief from backaches and stiffness in your hips or down your legs? Then you need Dr. Ho's Back Relief Belt, the innovative technology to support and decompress your spine. And now it's covered by Medicare.
Every patient with back pain should be wearing this belt.
Nothing gave me instant relief except for the Dr. Ho belt.
Feel good while standing, walking, driving, doing housework, and while laying down. And now Dr. Ho's patented belt is available at our best price ever. It's even covered by Medicare. Order now and get the easy-to-use hand pump and back rehabilitation DVD free.
You know, similar belts can cost you almost $1,000, but my belts won't cost you $500, not $300, not even $200. I will give you my special TV price.
And remember, Dr. Ho's belt is covered by Medicare.
If you know a friend or family member that suffers with pain, get them my system today. Help them live with less pain, be more active, and get back to doing the things they love. Give them the gift of health.
Listen to this important message. If you owe money to the IRS, you will want to hear this. Penalties and interest compound daily on your back taxes, putting you under a mountain of debt. Tax 10,000 has years of experience connecting people with tax resolution specialists. Working through the IRS Fresh Start program, they will handle all the necessary forms, and if you qualify, you may end up saving thousands of dollars. Call Tax 10,000 at 800-773-4604.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you!
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C Show. Glad you could be with us. And I apologize. We had some technical issues at the beginning of the show. Just so everybody knows, Deontay Wilder is getting all, at least from me and Sal, he's getting all the credit in the world for his victory over Luis Ortiz. My opinion is that we saw the best Deontay Wilder that we're ever going to see on Saturday night. He can't get better because he's just not. He relies on his power, and it's been working for him so far. Sal, you disagree with me. You think he's going to get better and that we haven't seen the best Wilder. Explain.
Well, I said the other day in a pre-fight, I said we have not seen the best Deontay Wilder as of yet because he needs to be proven and showing us with a dance partner that he could do it. And guess what? He did that just this weekend.
Exactly. No, I think that's my point. I was agreeing with you, but I think we did see the best Deontay on Saturday. I don't think it's going to get better is my point.
What I'm saying is this. I'm just saying when one fighter with the heart and the soul and the ability like a Deontay Wilder, which I believe he does have, gets tested in areas that he has not been tested, I think he will rise to the occasion and prove everybody that he can do it. That's all I'm saying. So whatever it works for him, his stance, his ability, it works for him. And that's what I was trying to say with a unique athlete his size. Let me give you another analogy here. What was there, 40-pound difference between these two fighters? Something like that? He came in the lightest he ever came in recently. What, 213 pounds? And what was Luis Ortiz? 263, 53? What was it?
No, it was 240. I think he weighed 242, Ortiz.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. And Wilder weighed 214 and a half.
All right. Well, gee, that's still 30 pounds. That's like Triple G fighting Joe Louis, or that's like Manny Pacquiao.
Doesn't matter. We're in the heavyweight division. We're in the heavyweight division. Doesn't matter. What?
I know it doesn't matter because it's a heavyweight division, but I'm still saying it would be like Manny Pacquiao fighting Sergey Kovalev.
No, it's not. It's not because, listen, they've shown the proof that a 175-pound guy can punch just as hard as a 260-pound guy. They've done that. So that it's the smaller weights where it has a big difference. But listen, I thought that it might have been a mistake that Deontay came in so light. As a matter of fact, I was thinking before that fight started that maybe he overtrained for this fight and that he was going to run out of gas. But, he proved to me all wrong and everything that I thought, except for the main part of this issue that we're discussing. He's got terrible footwork and he's got no defense. But he won, so it doesn't matter. All of those things doesn't matter. But the truth of the matter is he's not going to get better. You're not going to see this guy all of a sudden have great footwork. You're not going to see this guy all of a sudden employ a defense that's impenetrable. You're not going to see it. It's not going to happen. But, what's going to happen is maybe this guy can continue winning, beating guys, including Anthony Joshua, with his power alone. That's yet to be seen. But what I said is that I think in follow up to what you suggested on Friday, I think, guess what? We just saw the best Deontay Wilder to date, and I don't think that we're going to see a better version. And as far as a dance partner, the only better dance partner out there at this stage is Anthony Joshua. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing him fight Dillian White. I wouldn't mind seeing him fight Joseph Parker. If Parker beats AJ, of course he'll get that fight. And as far as people saying, Tyson Fury said this, I don't care what Tyson Fury's still 500 pounds. I don't want to even hear about Tyson Fury till he steps back in the ring. So the only possible opponents for Deontay Wilder right now, if you're not going to give him AJ right now or Parker, whoever wins that fight, then the only other guy really is Dillian White. Deontay Wilder does nothing for himself fighting anybody else, Sal. That's my thoughts.
Well, I agree with you. The only other fighter for him right now is Anthony Joshua. There is no other fighter right now that I would like to see, and that I think the fans would like to see, and boxing critics across the board would like to see, than an Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder World Heavyweight Unification title fight. That's the fight that has to be. If Anthony Joshua gets past Joseph Parker in any fashion, I think that's the fight right then and there that we have to see signed, sealed, and we'll wait for it to be delivered within 6 to 8 months.
Well, don't count on it, and I'll tell you why. Because now Deontay Wilder thinks that he's worth the 50-50 split. So we won't see this fight this year. You can bet your house on it. You're not going to see Deontay Wilder against Anthony Joshua this year, and we may not even see it next year. So don't even get your hopes on it. Don't. Well,
I'll tell you what. Deontay Wilder also increased his stock. I'm telling you that right now.
He did increase his stock, but you know what? He still doesn't have the pedigree Anthony Joshua has on paper. They don't. He doesn't. The best. Listen, we got to give him credit for this win.
I am.
But no. I'm not saying you are. I know you're going over the top. You might as well have drank his Kool-Aid, and you might as well put him on the pedestal and say he's the best heavyweight ever, just like Deontay says. But the truth of the matter is that, yes, his stock went up. Yes, people want to see this fight now, especially in the way he won. But he's still a limited guy. That's all I'm going to say. Let me just – I got a bunch of emails we're going to read. We got Dax Khan coming up here in a little bit. Let me just get you guys caught up. On the undercard of that fight, Jose Uzcategui, and I'm sorry, let's just call him Jose U. He improved to 27-2 when he beat the snot out of Andre Dirrell, who wouldn't come out after the 9th round. Virgil Hunter is I don't know what he is, but I'll tell you what he isn't, a good trainer. That's all I'm going to say. Dirrell got the snot beat out of him, and no one was happier than I. I hope we never see a Dirrell brother in the ring again, although he did show some sportsmanship at the end, and it seemed like he said to Jose, hey, basically what has happened in the past wasn't a reflection on me. A fight's a fight. They had to respect each other. It was a very entertaining fight, one that if you watch from the beginning, Jose Uza just went in there and just kept throwing punches. Just kept going.
Let me tell you, hey.
Well, you pronounce. Go ahead. What's his last name? Say it.
You want me to say it?
Yeah, I want you to say it.
Uzcategui.
Yeah, okay.
I do that.
Uzcategui. But anyway, let me just get rid of the rest of the results. Let me just get rid of the rest of the results here. Sergey Kovalev. In a very boring fashion. And I got news for you. Sergey Kovalev, I mean, this guy that he fought, talk about heart, but I couldn't.
Heart, but this guy was offering no kind of
opposition. Like you just said, he was a punching bag. It was finally stopped. 7th round, Kovalev improves to 32 wins, 2 losses, and a draw. And McCacklin drops to 21-2. Also, on that undercard, WBA light heavyweight champion Dmitry Bivol took care of business when he basically pummeled Sullivan Barrera in that fight and improved to 13-0 with 11 knockouts. Barrera, 21-2, was stopped in the final round of that one. One other fight I wanted to mention that was on that card, Von Alexander, the brother of Devon Alexander, is a super middleweight, and he won. He improved to 12-0 with 8 knockouts when he won a 10-round decision over Devon Lee. Also, some other fights that took place this past weekend. Kell Brook destroyed Rabchenko to improve to 37-2. Rabchenko drops to 29-3. Gavin McDonald won a 12-round decision over Gamel Yaffe, who loses for the first time in his career. He's now 14-1. And Lenroy Thomas, my man Lenroy, out of Florida, good kid. I got to call a couple of his early fights. He had a draw in a rematch with David Allen. It was a technical draw. Allen got a cut in the very first round. and they had to put it to a draw. Lenroy's now 22 wins, 4 losses, and a draw with 10 knockouts. David Allen, 12 wins, 3 losses, and a couple of draws with 9 knockouts. Another fight I wanted to mention, Jason Velez improved to 26-4 with a draw when he scored a 12th round knockout over Juanma Lopez, who drops to 35-6. Juanma now has been stopped in 3 of his last 4 fights. I think it's time for Juanma to hang him up. It's a shame that what's happening with Juanma Lopez, really. I mean, this guy showed some signs of having some issues with his brain scans and stuff a couple of fights ago, and why he's still fighting. It's probably for the money. And finally, out of Germany, Dominic Bussell improved to 27-1 when he beat Sergey Demchenko, who drops to 18-12, 116-112 twice, 118-110 with the way the judges scored that one. Listen, I'm going to take a short break. When we come back, we will read the emails. We'll have some more discussion on Deontay Wilder beating Luis Ortiz, and Dax Khan is scheduled to catch up with us in about a half hour. Don't go anywhere.
Billy C will be right back.
Relief from backaches and stiffness in your hips or down your legs? Then you need Dr. Ho's Back Relief Belt. The innovative technology works to support and decompress your spine. And now it's covered by Medicare.
Every patient with back pain should be wearing this belt.
Nothing gave me instant relief except for the Dr. Ho belt.
Feel good while standing, walking, driving, doing housework, and while laying down. And now Dr. Ho's patented belt is available at our best price ever. It's even covered by Medicare. Order now and get the easy-to-use hand pump and back rehabilitation DVD free.
You know, similar belts can cost you almost $1,000, but my belts won't cost you $500, not $300, not even $200. I will give you my special TV price.
And remember, Dr. Ho's belt is covered by Medicare.
If you know a friend or family member that suffers with pain, get them my system today. Help them live with less pain, be more active, and get back to doing the things they love. Give them the gift of health.
This is important news for women using birth control medications and devices. If you or a loved one have been diagnosed with a pseudotumor after using one of these birth control drugs or devices, you may be eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Contact the law firm of Davis & Crump right now if you or a loved one have used one of these birth control medications or devices and were diagnosed with a pseudotumor to see if you are eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Call now. Operators are standing by.
Hologram USA presents a proposal to all investors. Hologram USA is an innovative 3-dimensional patented technology that shifted the paradigm in media technology. Our patented hologram technology that brought you Tupac and Coachella, Whitney Houston, Billie Holiday, and many more is integrating live performances to bring your favorite past and present entertainers beyond your imagination. Invest in the patented technology before the banks scoop up all the stock. Invest in Hologram USA today. Hologram USA Flagship Theater, located on Hollywood Boulevard's Walk of Fame, is the first of many to come. Call now to be part of the explosive growth. Pick up the phone. Dial the number on your screen now. Invest in Hologram USA today. Call the number on your screen right now to learn about this investment opportunity.
Call 800-624-1673. 800-624-1673.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Now back to Talkin' Boxing with Billy C., the only radio host man enough to take a punch from Mike Tyson.
Wait a minute, man. Hold on there. Jeremy, man, I need you to take this one, all right?
Wait, what? No way. I can't do this.
Need I remind you I'm Billy C., damn it? Now put on that mustache and get in there.
Hey, look at me. I'm Billy C. Crap.
Undisputed heavyweight champion of Boxing Talk Radio. It's Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C. Show. Glad you could be with us. And we've been talking mostly about Deontay Wilder's performance over Luis Ortiz this past Saturday, and it was a good one at that. No question about that. Proved a lot of things, at least to me, on the good side. Well, I'll start off with the bad thing, because the only bad thing I saw of Deontay Wilder is the fact that he's never going to get any better. He's going to constantly rely on that punching power of his right, and that's the end of that. Now, the big question is can he get by with that? And it looks like he can, because he showed me that he definitely has heart, determination. He hung in there, and overcame. I mean, listen, the guy was in some serious trouble. And he overcame that and came out on top. And it was a decisive win, Sal, by winning by knockout. Because I got news for you. I was getting ready for a decision that people were going to be pissed about. I had Luis Ortiz up in that fight. I also couldn't help but think of Larry Hazard when Steve Farhood gives Deontay Wilder the 10-8 round when he dropped Ortiz early in the fight, when technically Ortiz was winning that round. I mean, that's exactly what Larry says. You know, you get a flash knockdown, and that becomes a 3-point swing.
Well, going into that 10th and final round, I had Ortiz up by 1 point. I had 85-84. And as I said, it was a great fight.
You scored that a 10-8 round? That one knockdown? That knockdown round, when with the first time that Deontay knocked down Ortiz, did you score that at 10-8?
What round was that? The fifth? The fifth, right?
Yeah,
I think it was the fifth round. I did score a 10-8 round.
Okay, so this is the argument that Larry makes all the time, and you know, Steve Farhood scored a 10-8, and everybody has this delusion or illusion that because there's a knockdown, you automatically score at a 10-8. That's what Larry's been talking about. Because in that round, Ortiz was winning that round. Ortiz was winning that round up until the knockdown. So now it comes to the question, how do you score it? Do you automatically score a 10-8 round for the guy who got the knockdown, ultimately giving that a 3-point swing? Or does that fight get scored 10-9 in Deontay's favor? You know, either way, Deontay won the round. I'm not suggesting he didn't. It's just a matter of how much. You know what I mean? But
well, let me just say, I also gave Ortiz a 10-8 round, beating Deontay Wilder in the 7th round.
Of course. All right, let's get some emails out of the way. This first one's from Jesse. Says, "Hey, Billy C and Sal, horrible boxing display by Wilder, but it works for him. Credit for Ortiz. He displayed, I guess, some skill, but should have worked the body and should have been lighter on his feet and move his head more. I didn't learn much from Wilder other than he took a punch and knocked out Ortiz. He is so awkward that it helps him with his style, but there's no technique. Ortiz was trouble with Wilder's reach. Ortiz had trouble with Wilder's reach. I think Ortiz should have thrown the uppercut when Wilder was throwing those wild punches. The crowd was booing for a good time of fight. I hope Joshua wins. And finally, this fight's on, but Parker's is pretty good." You know, the funny thing is, and just getting off topic here for a sec, you know, when the crowd was booing, I said to myself, this is what these, new young fans don't understand. Fight game. If you want to get boxing back to the popular, or at least close to being as popular as it once was, you need fighters that are willing to get in the pocket and exchange. That's what the fans, that's why they were booing. That's what they wanted to see. Now, whether you could make the argument, oh, that's not the sweet science or not, that's neither here nor there. If you want the people to pay and go into the arenas and watch the fights on TV, etc., you got to give them excitement. You got to give them action. And that's what they were clearly looking for. They got it. I'm not going to say I disagree with Jesse, because I agree with the point that Deontay Wilder doesn't have boxing skill. He really doesn't. But apparently 40 fights under his belt, he doesn't really need it. He's got the pop to take care of it. As far as Ortiz and the criticisms that Jesse's given him here, he couldn't be lighter on his feet. He never was. He couldn't move his head more. He never did. I mean, you're expecting him to do things he never did. So the bottom line is Deontay Wilder beat Luis Ortiz, and Luis Ortiz was at his best, I think. And Deontay Wilder was clearly the best I've ever seen him fight. That's for sure. Even though I still don't think he's got good footwork or defense, but I don't think it's going to change. We're not going to see it. The guy's got 40 pro fights under his belt. We're not going to see him all of a sudden dancing, like Sugar Ray Leonard. You're not going to see it. You're going to see what you saw, and he's going to rely on that no matter who he fights. You agree with that, Sal?
I agree. He still has room for improvement, and I think he can tighten it up a little bit. But as I said, he's a very unique athlete. And I think the way he can, and this is what I was trying to say earlier about a taller athlete, they have different ways to compensate their balance. And the athleticism in these guys over 6'3", 6'5", they have to do things uniquely different that maybe a 5'6" guy doesn't have to do or has to look pretty doing. And it works for them. And that's all I'm saying. Deontay Wilder did what he has to do to let it work for him and his unique features and his unique style and his unique build. And if that's what it takes to get the foundation underneath him so he doesn't lose his balance, then that's what works. It doesn't have to look pretty. It doesn't have to look like a 5'4" gymnast, and it's not going to. But that's what I'm just trying to make the comparison different.
So you think Deontay has balance?
I think he's got balance for his size. That's what I'm saying. We don't know. Like I said, if you look at what he has to do to keep his balance, he stayed on his feet, and he was able to carry that big frame. And the bottom line is, and I'll tell you this too, Bill, he got tested on the body. Luis Ortiz did hit him with some body shots. And, the guy, as you suggested, did not just bend over and fall because he's built like a toothpick. He's a very unique kind of athlete. And you know what? I thought that his athleticism was going to prevail, and it did.
You and I watched two different fights. I saw him go to Deontay Wilder's body maybe a half a dozen times throughout the whole fight. So how that proves that I was wrong,
it doesn't
I don't know.
Prove. I said he got tested, Bill. I didn't say it was
tested. You're going to say 6 punches to the midsection is testing his body? Come on, please, Sal. Did you watch the whole fight? Did you watch the whole fight? You didn't, did you? Okay, all right.
Yes, I did. All right. Hey, listen.
Jesse goes on to say, Jose Hughes, because I'm not going to even murder him again. It's not fair.
Uzcategui.
Had a good win, deserves a top fighter. Maybe Plant, Eubank Jr., Truex. Yep, I agree. He says, excellent win for Bivol. He has the boxing to beat all the light heavyweights. Bivol versus Kovalev next, if not versus Joe Smith, Jack. Why? Yeah. Okay, all right. He says, your thoughts on Deverenchenko? Is he ready for a big step up? He should be. We don't have the pool of fighters, guys. We don't have the pool of fighters. So, when you got a guy, Bivol has 13 fights under his belt, but he's got a championship belt. So, all this, is he ready for this guy? Is he ready for that guy? That's out the window. He's ready for anybody. If he's got a championship, I don't care how many belts there are, you're ready for anybody. I'm so sick of that crap. Oh, he's still developing. Oh, he's going to get better. Give me a break. Then he shouldn't be a champion. What's your thoughts on Teofimo Lopez? Already ranked 15 by the WBC. That's a joke. He's on a fast track. He's only got 8 fights. How can they rank him at number 15? Listen, they're ranking people at high rankings for a little bit of fights, and the reason is simple. There's not enough fighters. You got all these sanctioning bodies that have their own top 10, top 20 guys. They won't rank another fighter who's in another organization, so we don't have that many fighters to go around. We're lucky pro debut guys aren't ranked in the top 10 already. Joel says, while everyone was focused on Wilder Ortiz in the boxing world, I ordered UFC pay-per-view on Saturday, and Adelie Bird returned to join. So she does WWE. I don't want to talk about UFC. Thanks for the email, Joel. Raheem, Good morning, Billy and Sal. It's Raheem. I was impressed by Ortiz. He's impressed by Ortiz. Ortiz came in shape, and Ortiz put pressure on Wilder. Wilder, in my opinion, gave Ortiz respect due to his power. This was a great match, and at our house, we were all excited about it. I give Ortiz props for challenging Wilder due to the fact that the top heavyweights had been ducking Wilder. Nobody's ducking Wilder. I'm not even reading it anymore. No one is ducking Wilder. Okay? Nobody's afraid to fight Wilder. It's the same thing with Mayweather. Nobody was afraid to fight Floyd. Floyd didn't scare anybody except his accountant, but and women. But nobody's afraid to fight Deontay Wilder. Come on, please. This is from Jamie from New Zealand. Hey, Billy C., after watching a Wilder fight, I think you'll agree Deontay's stock has gone up, but I have to say yours has gone down. You were saying Ortiz was going to throw the fight, that he's really 45. No 45-year-old can move like him. Wait, was he fleet on foot, Jamie? Come on. Why do you have to be constantly negative about any boxer but AJ? That's not true. I get tired of people like you judging boxers by what they say rather than what they do in the ring. It's hard not to. And I'll tell you the truth. I've been giving Deontay Wilder all the accolades and credit he deserves, but it's not like he baffled us with boxing ability. Contrary to what Sal says, I disagree. I don't think that this guy shows us any kind of boxing ability except for his punching power. I'm sorry. He doesn't. You know, whatever. He says, I enjoy listening to your opinion, but I think you can... in this instance, you can give yourself an uppercut on your assessment of the pre-fight. Way off the mark. Nice to hear I admit you're wrong. I'm admitting it. What else you want? I mean, I admitted I was wrong. I picked Ortiz, and I was wrong. Hey, it happens. You can only... The best thing that happened was that Deontay Wilder beat him the way he did, because there's no argument. You know, if that fight would have went the way it was going and ended and went to the scorecards and Wilder won that fight by a wide margin, of course people would be upset. But the best thing could have happened. Wilder won, and he won by knockout. Left no doubt about it. Let's see. We got a couple more here, Sal. We got this one's from Rick. He says, hey, Billy C., I haven't been watching many fights lately. I tuned in tonight because I knew how much of a fan of Deontay Wilder you are. I agree. I'm getting it today. I agree with you. Wilder is way overhyped, but I'm starting to appreciate his style of playing possum, them striking his opponent when they're out of gas or out of ideas. It kind of reminds me of Bernard Hopkins, except Wilder knocks guys out. You know, I wonder if that really... I mean, it does kind of look like that. But I don't think that Wilder was playing possum at all. I think that he was trying to time Ortiz, and Wilder was starting to get a little tired too. Now, granted, Wilder's age and the fact that he's in fantastic shape, and nobody can ever say he's not, he was able to recuperate a lot quicker. Once Ortiz got tired, it was over. Similar to Anthony Joshua when he was out on his feet, gassed against Klitschko, and somehow he comes back and recuperates. Well, that's... When you're a younger fighter and you're in good shape, that's what happens. If you replenish the oxygen, that 1 minute that you're resting, it gives you enough time. Plus, your body's training, all during training, you're resting for 1 minute. So your body's used to recuperating in that 1 minute time. So a guy that's in better shape will, recuperate a lot better than a guy that's not. Plus, I don't believe Ortiz was really 38. But that's besides the point. Anyway, he says, I think Sal said Wilder has octopus arms. That's a good description. I think his long arms are just as useful on defense because he can tie guys up and deflect shots with his elbows. It's true, Wilder shouldn't need 6 rounds to figure guys out. He should be knocking them out. I don't know if he's taken. He says, I'm still excited to see him fight Joshua. I think putting Joshua, he says, I think you're putting Joshua on a pedestal, meaning me. I don't know if he's trying to figure guys out, Sal. I don't think he's taken 6 rounds to figure a guy out. I think he's taken 6 rounds to figure trying to time it. He's a one-dimensional fighter. That's my opinion.
Well, like I said, you and I are going to have our differences, and that's the way the fight fans do. I mean, we both can appreciate certain fight qualities or certain things about each fighter, and it doesn't have to be on the same page. And like I said, what I'm suggesting, a win is a win. And, it may not look always pretty, but, you can't argue a knockout.
I'm not taking anything from Deontay. I'm just calling it like it is. Deontay Wilder impressed the hell out of me. He's definitely gained stock from me. Just remember something. Just because I'm saying that this is a guy that will never get better, that doesn't mean he won't continue to win. Rocky Marciano, I've said this many, many times on this show, that Rocky Marciano is in the Hall of Fame and is regarded as one of the best heavyweights ever, not because of his skill. This was a guy that did everything wrong. He did everything wrong. All right? The difference with the reason why he's in the position that he's in, Rocky Marciano, is because he overcame all those deficiencies and still was knocking people out. Don't get me wrong. I'm certainly not comparing Deontay Wilder to Rocky Marciano, but Deontay Wilder is performing and winning without skill. He doesn't have any skill. He's got punching power. He's got no skill. Please, he has no skill, but he's winning. That's all I'm going to say. Anyway.
Oh boy.
He's got no skill. Sal, I don't care what you try to I don't know what you're trying to do or how you're trying to say it, but there's no way that you can convince me that this guy has anything more than punching power. And like I keep saying, it's enough for him, okay? But this guy does not have any boxing skill. End of story. He doesn't even deliver. When at certain points, he doesn't even deliver his jab right. He hits with his heel of his hand. He slaps. Anyway, let's see. What do we got? 2 more. I think. Let's see. Let's hope. 3 more. Well, yeah, 3 more. 4 more. Jeez. This one's from Sean. He says, hey, Billy C and Sal, Sean from Jersey here. Just wanted to say it was a great fight overall. I was in the crowd at the Barclays, and they were booing nonstop, especially when Wilder started running and not throwing back in the beginning of the fight. I was impressed by Wilder's chin and grit to come back, but he needs to go back to working on fundamentals if he wants to beat Joshua. Those awkward style punches won't work because he doesn't have the power. But he does have the power, so anything can happen in the heavyweight division. Big ups to Ortiz. He put on a great fight, but gassed out. I wouldn't mind a rematch. Let me know what you think about the video above and a potential fight. He sent me a link to a video that my man Mitch had already sent me. This was down in the basement of the Barclays Center. Daniel Jacobs and the Charlo brothers met. And, boy, did that sound like a couple of street guys talking to each other. But the bottom line is Daniel Jacobs said, hey, call fight. You know, Charlo's been talking smack about Daniel Jacobs, and all of a sudden Daniel Jacobs was right there in his face going, hey, I'm ready to fight you whenever. And as big as Charlo always looks, he didn't look too much bigger than Daniel Jacobs, I'll tell you that. I agree with Sean. But, again, you know, you're talking about a fighter with 40 professional fights. You know, to work on fundamentals is easy to say, hard to do. You know, it's like in baseball. If you watch baseball, you'll see in spring training and in warm-ups and stuff, these guys are constantly working on fundamentals. How to field, how to hold the bat right, how to swing, how to throw, all these fundamentals that you would assume that they've already learned since Little League. And a lot of times they go through the motions for muscle memory. If somebody could all of a sudden teach Deontay Wilder footwork and teach him a defense with 40 fights, I would give him all kinds of credit. I don't think it's going to happen. I think what's going to happen is what we saw on Saturday night. We saw Deontay Wilder show us that he's got heart, that he can take a punch. For all intent purposes, like Sal said, he gave him scored Ortiz a 10-8 round in that 7th. For all intent purposes, he should have been ruled a knockdown. The ropes kept him up. The referee could have almost even waved that fight off. I mean, there was so many things that went on, but at the end of the night, Wilder survived and came back and won by knockout. So all credit goes to Wilder. Willie says, hey, Billy C., what an exciting fight between these Wilder and Ortiz. I was pleasantly surprised, and after having watched it, I realized how stupid I was to believe the conspiracy theory that Ortiz was going to be fighting to a planned script or take a dive. I'm so glad I was wrong. I thought that both fighters fought like true warriors, and that definitely the best man won. Wilder showed us that he has heart, and I like the way that both he and his corner didn't go into panic mode when things got seriously bad in there for Wilder. I agree with that. The corner was very calm.
Good point.
Yeah,
wow.
No, very good. The corner was calm throughout that whole fight, Sal.
They were calm, and like, hey, boy, I'll tell you, and that last punch, that uppercut was devastating. I mean, it was unbelievable. He came up with that.
He says, I think that we witnessed Ortiz aging before our eyes during the later rounds, but he sure did put up a good fight against Wilder's onslaught, even though it ultimately proved to be too much for him to endure. I hope that the Cuban has a good twilight career, and I'm sure he'll be involved in some decent scraps down the road. I like him and wish him all the best. So what happens next? Are we going to get Wilder, Joshua sooner than later? Eddie Hearn got other plans for cash cows, etc. We'll have to wait and see, but whatever happens next in the heavyweight division, one thing we can be sure of, it's going to be exciting. I look forward to hearing what you guys say. I like I said earlier, don't count on Ortiz. Don't count on Wilder, AJ this year. It's not going to happen, and I don't even think it's going to happen next year.
I don't know, Bill. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But I'll tell you what. What's going to happen is this. It seems that.
Sal, hold that thought. Let me just get this last email out of the way, okay? Because we got Dax coming on, and I just don't want to have any emails hanging around. Johnson says, "Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the fights this weekend. There were plenty to get our teeth into. I'm curious to know what your views on the fight was. We've been talking about it all morning. So he's not convinced with Wilder, although it was made me see that Joshua Wilder fight has a little bit more, mainly so I could see Wilder get knocked out." I wouldn't be so. Listen, Wilder's got the equalizer, man. He's got the pop, and Anthony he's got just as suspect chin as anybody else. And I always thought that Ortiz had a granite chin, so you could take that. That's why I'm giving Deontay so much credit for utilizing his punching power. I don't think he's got anything else, but he's got punching power, and he knocked out a guy that's got a solid chin. I'm sorry. Ortiz has a solid chin. In my opinion, it may be more solid than AJ's. So he says the fight has received rave reviews on this side of the pond and being compared to Anthony Joshua versus Klitschko. It should, because the only difference is Klitschko had a much better pedigree than Ortiz, but still, it should be compared. He says, I was, on the other hand, feel it only had an air of AJ's epic win over Klitschko because of the stadium. The only comparison is that it was a seesaw fight, and Wilder showed good spirit when he was in trouble, just like AJ. From this is Johnston talking. For me, Wilder looked average at best until the knockdown in the fifth, just like when he fought Gerald Washington. Even after the knockdown, Ortiz rallied and took over the fight again until the stoppage. Wilder looked out of his depth for big chunks of the fight against a game opponent who took advantage of his flaws. I think the southpaw gave Deontay a lot more trouble. I think that was part of it, too.
I think so.
Yeah. I just kept imagining a fit Tyson Fury in the ring on Saturday. Would Wilder have... I tell you what, Tyson Fury does not have the punching power of a man his size. No, so I think that Deontay would have handled Tyson Fury's power. And, I don't know if Tyson Fury can handle Deontay's. Deontay's got some pop, guys. He really does. I mean, there's no question about that. When you listen, I saw him hurt Ortiz more times than Ortiz went down. So, he says, maybe I'm being critical. Maybe I'm not a fan. Maybe the comments before the fight didn't help either when Eddie Hearn, when he said Eddie Hearn's just another white man milking a black. That's the problem with young black America. They're constantly throwing the race card around. Deontay, I wish he wouldn't have said it because now people are going to be able to say that. If Deontay didn't make that comment at all, he would have looked a lot better this morning, but I guess it depends who's looking at it. Some people like those comments. I personally don't. He says, this guy's so stupid, it irritates me. Yeah, I agree. He's not the sharpest tool in the shed. He says, I hope, but I love how he is with his daughter, and God bless him and the troubles that he and his daughter are going through. I've always said I like the man, and I do. I don't like his antics or anything, but as a father, You know, I could see a guy that talks as much trash as Deontay does, pounding his chest, but when you see him with his little girl, he looks just like the cowardly lion. He would lay down and do anything for that kid. You can see it, and it's pretty obvious to me, and I respect him for it. He says, I just hope I hope he fights another valid opponent next. All I could see is Wilder making excuses, demanding contract negotiations for the winner of AJ, blah, 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 which is true. He's being overcritical, or am I missing something, Billy and Sal? Enlighten me. Nah, you're not. Listen, I think that I think that he did what he had to do. And one last email I want to just spit out real quick. My man Mitch says Wilder earned $2.1 million for Saturday, and Ortiz took $500,000. He says Ortiz should have gotten at least $1 million. I thought Heyman was helping change lives. LOL. You know, this has been our argument, Sal, about Deontay Wilder. You know, trying to accept the money that team AJ's offering, but his value had to go up Saturday.
Well, I'll tell you, I know, and it's a shame. I thought that you look at Luis Ortiz, he just got 1/4 of what Deontay Wilder got. But I'll tell you what, his stock, Deontay Wilder's stock, as I suggested earlier, did go up. He increased his value, and I'm telling you, I'm ready to see him fight Joshua or anybody else.
Yeah, well, good. Let's take a short break, and when we come back, we're scheduled to have Dax Khan join us, so don't go anywhere.
Billy C will be right back, part of the Billy C Boxing Network.
Snacking has never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks, like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of Grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free. Need relief from backaches and stiffness in your hips or down your legs? Then you need Dr. Ho's Back Relief Belt. The innovative technology works to support and decompress your spine. And now it's covered by Medicare.
Every patient with back pain should be wearing this belt.
Nothing gave me instant relief except for the Dr. Ho belt.
Feel good while standing, walking, driving, doing housework, and while laying down. And now Dr. Ho's patented belt is available at our best price ever. It's even covered by Medicare. Order now and get the easy-to-use hand pump and back rehabilitation DVD free.
You know, similar belts can cost you almost $1,000, but my belts won't cost you $500, not $300, not even $200. I will give you my special TV price.
And remember, Dr. Ho's belt is covered by Medicare.
If you know a friend or family member that suffers with pain, get them my system today. Help them live with less pain, be more active, and get back to doing the things they love. Give them the gift of health.
Listen to this important message. If you owe money to the IRS, you will want to hear this. Penalties and interest compound daily on your back taxes, putting you under a mountain of debt. Tax 10,000 has years of experience connecting people with tax resolution specialists. Working through the IRS Fresh Start program, they will handle all the necessary forms, and if you qualify, you may end up saving thousands of dollars. Call Tax 10,000 at 800-773-4604.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your joints. Endless pools are simple to install and even simpler to maintain. The water stays crystal clear with almost no chlorine. Call for your free idea kit and experience the freedom of swimming at home.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you.
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. He may not have an Excellence in Broadcasting award, but the night's still young.
And he's got martinis.
So you never know what may be by morning. It's Talkin' Boxing with Billy C.
Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're listening and watching the Billy C. Show. Glad you could be with us today. And we're talking about Deontay Wilder's epic win over Luis Ortiz Saturday night in Brooklyn. Join us to give us his thoughts, Dax Khan. Good morning, Dax.
Hello.
Well, what do you think today? What do you think? Give us your thoughts.
Well, you know, the fights, all the fights this weekend were high quality in my opinion, and to stress how high the quality is, you have to look at the opponents. You know, first off, with the today's topic, Deontay Wilder versus Luis Ortiz, Deontay Wilder has to be looked at in a different light, in my opinion, especially after what took place in round 7, him surviving that onslaught from Luis Ortiz. I do think that maybe the fact that the round, you know, the bell ended and sounded and ended that round, you know, kind of benefited Deontay Wilder, maybe another 10 or 15 seconds. He would have been down. You know, that's only hindsight. We never know. But, you know, he did what fighters do. He answered back. He didn't just stand there and cover up and hope to weather the storm. He did look to throw some punches of his own. You know, so he showed he has a solid chin. He showed he has heart. Luis Ortiz, in my opinion, after this loss, his stock didn't really drop. He, too, was hurt early in round 5. He bounced back. He didn't go into a let's survive mode. He might have been lucky there as well. If he did get up and there was maybe another 10 or 15 seconds, Deontay Wilder may have stopped him. But, you know, both guys showed heart. You know, there's always questions around these big punchers, be it Deontay Wilder, Luis Ortiz, or any big puncher, on how they're going to react when in those situations. Both these guys, you know, they both shined. If I was going to knock Wilder on anything, of course, as everybody, it's that wild reaction he has when getting caught. So far, it's worked well for him because he has that big right-hand equalizer. But one day, it may backfire on him. And it doesn't have to be an Anthony Joshua. It doesn't have to be a Joseph Parker. Everybody in the heavyweight division is dangerous. Everybody with that 220, 230 pounds, they get that behind them. You know, they can be a knockout puncher. Hopefully, Deontay Wilder can correct that a little bit with Mark Breland in his corner. Let's hope the winner of the Anthony Joshua and Joseph Parker fight signs and they get the Deontay Wilder fight, and we get a unified heavyweight champion finally. And the loser of that fight, in my opinion, a fight against Luis Ortiz would be great. The heavyweight division, once again, you know, is live. You know, there's some more excitement in that heavyweight division again. So this was a good fight for the sport and the division this weekend, in my opinion.
Well, I think it was a great fight 100%. For the sport. I think that Deontay proved a lot of things. He proved he's got a good chin. I don't think anybody. And listen, nobody's ever saying that Luis Ortiz was known for being a devastating puncher or anything like that, because he really wasn't. But he definitely landed some solid shots, and he had Deontay in all kinds of trouble. I respect Deontay. I don't think he's got the glass chin everybody says. He's got the same kind of chin as AJ has. AJ has been down in sparring just like Deontay. And the other thing is I've always looked at Luis Ortiz with a granite chin, Dax. So, I mean, Deontay showed me something, but he also showed, in my opinion, obviously, if you've been watching or listening to the show, you know that Sal and I are on different sides of the fence here, but I don't think that we're ever going to see Deontay Wilder get better than what we saw on Saturday. I think it was a great performance, and I'm not saying that we won't see a similar performance against even AJ. But the truth remains is that he's not going to get better. He's not going to all of a sudden know how to have footwork. He's not going to all of a sudden, have solid defense. It is what it is. And like you just said, your exact words is why I'm saying this. The equalizer is his right hand. And so far, in 40 fights, 39 wins by knockout, the equalizer got him the wins.
The only way for a fighter to get better, even at that level, after that many fights, is to be placed into those situations like Wilder was in Saturday. He was never placed into that situation, so he doesn't really know how to handle it. A lot of that, I believe, is also contributes to why he gets reckless and wild after getting caught with a good shot. Being in that situation a few more times, he would know how to remain a little bit more composed. Some of those punches by Luis Ortiz on Saturdays where Deontay Wilder, more or less came in there a little bit reckless, looking for that big right hand. So we'll take a guy we'll use in the past, my guy, Lennox Lewis. Lennox Lewis, he suffered a pretty... not only was he rocked in the Frank Bruno fight where he came back, similar kind of how Deontay Wilder was this weekend with Luis Ortiz, but then he gets stopped by Oliver McCall when he gets overconfident with himself. But, then later on, he learned as he got into tougher fights when he got in with the David Tuas or the Shannon Briggs and Tommy Morrisons who put him into that danger, and Lewis became a thinking man's fighter. So for Deontay Wilder to progress and get to that next level, he needs to be put in some more tough fights, and they can't bring him back down to these more or less PBC house fights that he's been in so far.
What? With what, Dax?
If he expects to get better, if these flaws in that to fix, Deontay Wilder has to be put into these more fights where he has to become a guy who thinks inside there and not just be able to rely on his right hand. Yeah. That's why I mentioned Lennox Lewis in the past. Mark Breland, the guy who spent a lot of time at Kronk Gym, with Manny Stewart. Mark Breland, maybe he can use some of that past knowledge and do a little bit of what Manny Stewart did with Deontay Wilder. But it's not going to happen if they bring Deontay Wilder back down and they just keep continuing the PBC type house fighters that he's had so far. He needs more tough fights, and that doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be Anthony Joshua or Joseph Parker, even though that's the fight we want to see. He needs tougher fights and guys that can test him, not guys that can just go in there and take that punch and go down.
All right, listen. What you just said, and Sal and I have been talking about this for months, if years actually. In a perfect world, if they would have, and this is why I have said, everybody thinks I hate Deontay Wilder. It's not true. This is why I have said that his team has not taken care of him. Because if they had been progressively increasing his level of opposition 20 fights ago, we would see a guy that is much more technically sound than Deontay Wilder. But fast forward it to Saturday, and now you have a guy that proved to a lot of people, and I'm thinking of myself right now, he proved to me that he's got heart and a chin, which was important to me. And, he's 40 wins with no losses, 39 coming by knockout. I just don't see, and I'm not suggesting that you're wrong about they can't start putting him back in there with cupcakes, but I don't see him all of a sudden trying to, right the ship because it's worked so well for him. And then if push came, let's just say for argument's sake, they listen to Sal, and they work on his footwork. They tie the old string to his feet, and next thing you know, this guy comes out and he's dancing better than Fred Astaire. All right, and he's got footwork nobody has ever seen. All it would take is one shot to put him in trouble, and then he would go back to what comes naturally to him. So, I don't know what the correct answer is here, but I don't think that they are going to spend too much time trying to change what they got. It falls into that, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. He's won 40 times, 39 by knockout. The big fight on the horizon is against Anthony Joshua or whoever wins the A.J. Parker fight. I just can't see them going back and trying to teach an old dog new tricks. That's all I'm saying.
You know what? The only person that can make that decision is Deontay Wilder. He in the end, inevitably, he's the one that's, in control, and he runs the ship. So, see what happens. But, as of Saturday, Deontay Wilder definitely answered questions. I think he definitely silenced a lot of critics. And, now the only thing is we're going to wait for this next big fight to happen. And, that's something that's going to have to take place between the promoters, hopefully sooner than later. But, a little bit of justice served on that card between the Andre Dirrell and Jose Uzcategui fight. What do you guys think of that?
Loved it. Loved that fight, and not only was there justice served, but it was a good old fashioned behind the woodshed type of a beating, and I loved it. And another thing I loved was Jose looked like he could go another 20 rounds. The guy wasn't even breathing hard. And what about the chaos in Dirrell's corner? When Dirrell wasn't listening, and listen, you saw what I wrote in the chat room. I think Virgil Hunter is the most overrated trainer ever. Yes, he was successful with Ward, but whatever. But he wasn't listening to Virgil Hunter at all. He wasn't listening to anybody. He was actually waved his arm at them like he knows it all. As soon as that happened, this fight's over. This guy's not going to win. They have chaos in the corner. It reminded me of an Adrian Broner corner.
One thing I'll say about this is that Andre Dirrell, I'm surprised that he didn't fold a lot sooner. And maybe you can benefit or credit Virgil Hunter for that. As far as Virgil Hunter as a trainer, I think he's a very good trainer. Is he a great trainer? No. He's a perfect trainer in terms of record with Andre Ward. He's undefeated, and since Andre Ward, he's winless. So either way, his record is pretty steady. But, Dirrell, more or less, just like all his fights, once Dirrell feels that he's getting put on the back foot, Andre Dirrell, he really doesn't seem to have that dog inside him, contrary to the moniker that his brother has. In that sixth round when he was letting his hands go, when Uzcategui was kind of taking his foot off the gas and he was landing those hard shots, and Jose really didn't budge at all, I think that even dejected Andre a lot more. Uzcategui, one thing about him is, he has a very underrated defense, if you notice. He rolls with punches, he catches a lot in the gloves, he pulls back from a lot of these punches, and with the way he fights and the way he kind of leans in there, you're always thinking to yourself, this guy is one uppercut away from being brutalized. But, he has a very solid chin. He keeps control inside there. So I'm pretty excited to see him against Caleb Truau. And, what happened in the first fight was kind of erased. What happens next for Andre Dirrell, I'm not really sure. A long time ago, maybe even during the Super 6, he pretty much shot his marketability. As far as Jose Uzcategui, with that super middleweight division the way it is, if he gets another couple big wins, we have ourselves, again, another hot division that kind of died out for a while after the Super 6. We have some of the fighters here, the fighters from over there. So that may be another division to watch for, inside the next year or so.
Dax, I know we're a little limited with time today, but I know you're high on Dmitry Bivol. He dismantled his opponent, which was a good opponent, in Sullivan Barrera on Saturday over at the Garden. This kid just seems like he's the real deal. And Kovalev, he came out and was with a human punching bag. I don't know what to think, but I'm not sold on Kovalev anymore, but Bivol looked like the real deal. I got nothing else to say. I mean, what's your thoughts on those two fights? I know you love Bivol.
We'll quick on the Kovalev and McCallican fight. McCallican is a good fighter. He's not known, but he's a good fighter. He has a decent amateur pedigree. He's also a world champion. He's an IBO world champion. He won that from two-division world champion Tommy Uzcategui, Tommy Gunn last year. But unfortunately for Igor, he has the light heavyweight punching power of a Kasim Umas type. But he's very sound and he's solid. He was catching Kovalev a lot in that fight. He was catching with a lot of punches, but again, because he doesn't have that power, he wasn't able to hurt Kovalev. And Kovalev, he really lacked in that fight. He didn't have that killer instinct like we've seen in the past, as you mentioned. He didn't have that crusher instinct, not even the same type of aggressiveness and instinct that he had in the Shabransky fight. Some people may say, well, that's because him and Igor grew up together, or they were on the amateur team together. Maybe he was pacing himself. There could be a lot of reasons why his promoters or his PR team will make. But fact of the matter is, I don't think Sergey Kovalev really has it deep inside of him. Even afterwards, when they asked him, who would you like to fight next? Of course, he wants to avoid a southpaw right away. He comes out, well, if the purse is right. But one name he did avoid was Dmitry Bivol. They brought Bivol's name up, and Kovalev, pretty much danced around that. If you gave him tap shoes and a cane, Kovalev, would have did this, a nice little song and dance right there, because Dmitry Bivol is not a name that Kovalev wanted to even discuss or put on the table. Now, as for Dmitry Bivol, first thing, as I said about the opponents, we got to keep in mind, Sullivan Barrera is not an opponent. Sullivan Barrera is a world-class fighter. Yes. Sullivan, he may be 36 years old. He did lose that one-sided fight to Andre Ward, but again, that was the very best version of Andre Ward, and Andre Ward was, at the time, pound for pound, or maybe at worst, second pound for pound fighter in the sport. He's a big guy. He looked a lot bigger than Bivol in there. He has wins over Joe Smith, Karol Murat, Shabransky. In the amateurs, he has great wins. He held a slew of minor titles. I sound like a Sullivan Barrera PR agent, but you know what? That's just to enforce. Sullivan Barrera is a serious fighter, and Dmitry Bivol had an easy time in there. Sullivan Barrera, the question on Bivol, like Wilder, leading up to this was, how's his chin? Barrera tested that chin. Barrera's not a huge puncher, but he's a respectable puncher. The face of Bivol, the swelling and the hematoma around the eye, that was caused by headbutts. That wasn't caused by the punches. And one thing that I really liked about Bivol is he reminds me very much of a Triple G or Lomachenko. Not that he's at their level yet, but his demeanor and his calmness inside the ring, where he doesn't get rattled, even when his corner is trying to reassure him that the cut and the hematoma is not bad. Bivol wasn't even really concerned about that. He had, tunnel vision. He had what was right in front of him, and that's all that mattered. So, that just tells me that Dmitry Bivol, is ready for that next step. And the key thing was afterwards when he said, you mentioned something before about this, and you say about it all the time, once you're a world champion, there is no such thing as easy fights. Dmitry Bivol laid it all out there. I have a world title. I want to fight the very best. I got one. All you got to do is come to get it, and you have an opportunity. This isn't a guy talking about money. He's not a guy talking about politics. This is a guy talking about he wants to prove he's the very best, and that's what you have to like about a guy like Dmitry Bivol on top of the skill set that he has. In my opinion, Dmitry Bivol beats Sergey Kovalev. He beats Adonis Stevenson. He beats Peter Beef. He beats everybody in that division right now if they fought next.
I concur with you, pal.
Yeah, well,
I believe you. I believe you.
No, I'm with
He's great. He's solid. He's solid. He's sound. He's solid. He's fundamentally, like I said, he keeps his composure. He doesn't get rattled. And I became an instant fan. All right, I saw what Dax has been promoting and seeing, and I said, "Wow, this guy is the real deal." That's my opinion.
Listen, Andre Ward said a week before the fight when they asked me, and he said, "If Dmitry Bivol beats Barrera comfortably, all questions on him will be answered, and he is everything that he appears to be on the surface." Coming from Andre Ward, that's high praise. And the fact that not only did he beat Barrera as easily as Ward did, but he actually stopped Barrera.
Well, Barrera is a quality fighter, and he pummeled him. He broke him down. So
yes, he did. He did.
He did what he had to do. But anyway, Dax, I appreciate your insight on this and your thoughts and stuff. So we'll be looking forward to the next time, my man.
Yes, Friday, I was looking to come on. We had that nor'easter. My internet was down. My cable was down half the day. So, but it's beautiful out today.
Yeah, it was snowing here. It just stopped. So
I can't believe it, Bill. It's still snowing by you, huh?
Yeah. I love it. All right, I'll talk to you later,
Maybe
Dax.
I'll go up. I'll go see my Uncle Dave, and I'll tell him about it. Yeah, Billy's still got snow, but you know what? It's beautiful here. We'll hang out for the day.
Yeah. I can't stand it. I can't take it. But all right, my man. Have a good one.
All right, everybody.
Take care.
That's Dax Khan giving us his thoughts on the fight, and really, in a nutshell, Sal can't give enough kudos to Deontay Wilder. Looked good. Now, where the heavyweight division goes is yet to be seen, but we will see. Now, everybody's talking about Luis Ortiz. I'm not so sure he continues on much more. I saw some comments that people say, "Oh, he's going to become a champ. He'll be a champ." I mean, I'm not suggesting that $500,000 is going to set him up for life, but
no, it's not.
I mean, what's he going to do? Climb the ladder again? I mean, any of these young up-and-coming fighters, I mean, that's a tough out for an aging guy. I mean, he would want a bigger fight. Maybe Luis Ortiz against Tyson Fury to see how Tyson Fury is. Maybe that's a money fight.
Luis Ortiz, I'll tell you, I think he can still put up a hell of a fight and probably beat a lot of these other heavyweights out there. And don't forget, he might even be the right opponent for the loser of Anthony Joshua and Parker. And I'll tell you what, it's nothing to be embarrassed or shameful of. He is a quality fighter. The guy is tough, and he can punch, and he's got some skill. Did you see when he got on his toes and tried to move around a little bit? He still could box. I'm telling you, Luis Ortiz is a very good fighter, excellent fighter, and I'll tell you what, there's still a lot more money out there. If he has the heart and he has the desire and the willingness to continue boxing, there's a lot of great fights still in store for Luis Ortiz, and I think his value and his stock is also going to hold value and increase.
If they only paid him $500,000 for this fight, how much more is he going to get? He just fought Deontay Wilder for the world title. How much more is he going to get? I think
that's
they robbed him.
Benchmark right now.
Well,
established, and if he fights for another championship, or if he fights against whoever, I'm trying to think. I just want to
name one. Name somebody.
Name somebody. You name somebody.
I'll name a lot. Dillian White. Tyson. I think first of all,
Tyson
for money,
Fury.
money wise, Tyson Fury should be the money fight for Luis Ortiz. But to tell you the truth, Deontay Wilder. We look at him and we say, okay, what's next for him? Obviously, the fight that everybody wants to see is Deontay Wilder against Anthony Joshua. But that's not going to. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen this year. Okay, because what's going to happen is that Anthony Joshua is going to fight Joseph Parker, and Joseph Parker is a better opponent than Luis Ortiz. So let's keep that in mind. Anthony Joshua does not have a layup against Joseph Parker. So assuming that Anthony Joshua gets by Joseph Parker, which, Joseph Parker could be the Luis Ortiz. Everybody thought, I thought that Luis Ortiz was going to upset the apple cart this weekend and beat Deontay Wilder. Well, guess what? Now that upset guy is Joseph Parker. If Joseph Parker beats Anthony Joshua, which he's got a really good chance of doing so, now all of a sudden you got Deontay Wilder against Joseph Parker. But assuming that Anthony Joshua beats Joseph Parker, if you think that Anthony Joshua is going to come to Brooklyn and fight Deontay Wilder in the summer, like Hearn has already said that AJ is going to come over to the U.S. and fight over the summer, it's not going to be against Deontay. It's going to be against somebody else. And then you're going to have Deontay with the WWE move, pounding his chest at ringside and saying he wants him, I want you, don't be scared of me, stop thugging me, blah, blah, blah. So, and then if we're lucky, maybe the fight at the end of the year. I don't think so. I think that what's going to happen is Deontay Wilder is going to find someone else to fight, maybe the loser of AJ and Parker. No way. Or step up and fight Dillian White. Dillian White's got a big fight coming up. And Dillian White, to tell you the truth, Deontay Wilder should beat Dillian White. His only loss came at the hands of Anthony Joshua. Or, like I said earlier, Tyson Fury's talking all kinds of... You see, the problem with Tyson Fury is outpricing himself. So he may be saying that he wants a fighter, but he wants a bigger split against AJ. You think he's going to come and fight Deontay Wilder for, less money than he'd fight AJ? No. Because...
no champion has to fight Tyson Fury right now.
No. Tyson Fury is... listen... I wouldn't even entertain what Tyson Fury said, and I'm a Tyson Fury fan. I used to like him, but he brings nothing to the table right now. Tyson Fury has to beat a substantial opponent. Maybe Luis Ortiz. Maybe Luis Ortiz goes and fights Tyson Fury. If Tyson Fury dismantles him better or faster or the same way as Deontay, now he just earned himself a huge payday against either Deontay or AJ. So, I mean, whatever, That's
what I'm saying. There are fights for Luis Ortiz out there that could be made. And it's just like, it's so funny. During that fight, that ebb and flow, when Luis Ortiz went down, then when he had Deontay Wilder in trouble, I was seeing the complexion of the heavyweight division. And any scenario you can come up with, the heavyweight division is coming alive. And when all attention or the attention of the heavyweight division is in the boxing media and the attention's there, boxing becomes alive. I don't care what you say. The heavyweight division is always carried and commanded when it was a lively division, when it had the eyes on who was the baddest on the planet in the heavyweights. It wakes up the fight game. So that's what's happening right now. So let it continue to do so, and we'll see some good fights and some good things to look forward to.
Well, nothing for nothing, but the media is helping hype the heavyweight division because the last great era of the heavyweight division was not Mike Tyson. Even though everybody liked I love Mike Tyson, but that was not a great era. Lennox Lewis and Riddick Bowe era was not a great era. I mean, they just weren't. And I got news for you. Neither were the early 80s when Larry Holmes was in charge. It wasn't a great era. And the reason is because Larry Holmes was fighting all the old, washed-up fighters of the previous era, the 60s and 70s, or late 60s, early 70s era, when boxing that was the last great era of the heavyweights. Now, from an excitement point of view, We are at a point where people are excited about the heavyweight division again, which is great. And the only way that it can be even discussed is if the guys are willing to fight. And unfortunately, the politics that are behind the sport will prevent the fight that we all want. The fight that we all want is Anthony Joshua against Deontay Wilder. And if people keep thinking of that mentality, oh, it's got to marinate, oh, you got to let it, that's wrong. Because if they fought tomorrow and whoever wins, there'll be another big fight for that guy waiting. No, we don't need to marinate it. I personally don't think that fight will happen until the middle of next year. You'll see AJ come over here. He'll most likely fight Baby Miller, because Baby Miller is going to beat Johan Duhaupas. He's not going to stop him, but Johan Duhaupas is very slow. He's a slug. Miller will win a decision, and that's the fight you'll see. Then you'll see Deontay charge the ring. You'll see all of that stuff, and we still won't get that fight until sometime 2019. I'm sorry. 2019, if we're lucky, next year. Probably the middle to, I keep forgetting we're already in 2018. The end of 2019. But kudos to Deontay Wilder, Sal. Unfortunately, I 100% disagree with you about him getting better. I do think we saw the best Deontay, and I'm not saying that that's not good enough to be the undisputed world heavyweight champ. I'm not saying that. I just don't think.
And I know you're careful not to say that. I've been listening, and you're right.
Well, I have my money on AJ, but the truth of the matter is that he's not going to get better. And you see, this is the difference. Excuse me. This is the difference. I potentially see Anthony Joshua still in a position to get better. I could see him tighten up his defense. I could see him getting a little better than he is right now. Deontay Wilder, because there's only one facet of his game that he utilizes, and if you didn't see that on Saturday, if anybody didn't see that on Saturday, you're not watching boxing, because he did not show anything other than his pure punching power on Saturday, and that's what we got with Deontay. And it very well may be good enough to beat AJ, but I just can't see him getting better. As you suggest, he's going to work on his footwork, he's going to work on defense. I just don't see it getting better.
All I'm going to say is Deontay Wilder said one truism: fighters and champions know how to win. And like I said, I think that Deontay Wilder, when put in a position, he's going to find himself. He's going to dig deep, and he's going to know how to prevail. And like I said, I just feel that is the guy inside of the body that he's been blessed with to do what he's doing. I think that's the guy that will rise to the occasion. And until he's knocked out, I think he's possible of anything in the heavyweight division right now.
Well, hey, listen, power in the right hand, especially the power that Deontay Wilder possesses. Like Dax said, his exact words, it's the equalizer. And,
it is.
To tell you the truth, it helped Mike Tyson, but Mike Tyson had much more skill than Deontay. He moved his head. Deontay, if you can get inside on Deontay, you're going to be able to get him. And Ortiz was. And then I think he ran out of gas, and Deontay didn't. And Deontay still has the punching power. And he was able to crush him. And that was the end of that. Listen, I am giving Deontay Wilder all the credit he deserves. It was an exciting fight. I was on the edge of my seat from the opening bell till the end. I think that Deontay Wilder's stock totally went up.
Totally.
I think
totally
that the interest in him, are you going to say that he was? Are people going to say that he's a great fighter? If they do, they don't know the sport. But what they have to say at this point is he could, be in there and be competitive with any heavyweight that's out there today. And that's the end of that. He's not doing anything that's so fantastic that we need to put him on a pedestal yet. He did only fight so far. That's a signal for. Hey, listen, Saturday night we saw Deontay Wilder's signature fight, just like we saw last year when AJ fought Klitschko. That was his signature fight. and we got to see Deontay Wilder's signature fight on Saturday. So they've evened signature fight. When you look at the resumes, although Deontay Wilder has 40 fights under his belt, and AJ has half that, the difference in the level of opposition still is in AJ's hands. But AJ's never faced, with the exception of Klitschko, has never faced anyone with the punching power of Deontay Wilder. So, yes, I want to see this fight.
The unorthodox style of Deontay Wilder, which could be problematic for any fighter that he goes in a ring with. That's what I've always been saying.
Well, here's the one difference between Luis Ortiz and Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua is the same height as Deontay Wilder. Luis Ortiz was given up 4 inches. And, oh, by the way, the statistics that we were using for the arm reach was totally wrong.
Totally wrong. I know that. Luis Ortiz had an inch shorter, was it? Or an inch shorter?
No, that was incorrect. The true length, Deontay Wilder had almost a 5-inch reach advantage over Luis Ortiz. He's not going to have that over AJ. So, I think that Anthony Joshua's got that uppercut that's going to land.
He does.
It's going to land on Deontay because he has no defense. And, if he learns to keep his hand, Deontay Wilder had that similar to. Here's the difference. Klitschko had that right hand cocked, ready to punch.
Yes.
And he would go 8-9 rounds before he would let that hand go. Deontay Wilder, he too has his right hand cocked and ready to go. But that's all he's looking for. He's looking for that one shot. And when he delivers it, he leaves himself wide open. Ortiz was able to capitalize and land many, many times on Deontay Wilder. I just don't think that if, and it's a big if Deontay Wilder allows AJ to do something similar, he's not going to get out of that fight on his 2 feet. That's all I'm saying. But that's why they fight the fights. And at this point, I think it's a very, very good fight to watch. And because of that punching power, you'd have to say it's close to being an even fight. So we'll have to wait and see.
We will have to wait and see. And I will tell you this, Billy. If Anthony Joshua does get past Joseph Parker, which he should, but if he does get past, I can't see any other opponent that each fighter, being Deontay Wilder or Anthony Joshua, is going to have to face. They've got to face each other, and that fight has to take place before the end of this year. That's it.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying I disagree with you, but I'm telling you it's not going to happen.
I mean, that's the only fight that makes sense.
But this is boxing.
I don't want to see any other fight between that if Anthony Joshua gets past Joseph Parker.
Well, this is boxing. So, you don't always get what you want. On this day, March 5th, in boxing history, in 1965, Ernie Dirrell wins a 15-round decision over Eddie Machen to win the vacant WBA World Heavyweight title, and that took place in Chicago. On this day in 1913, Frank Claus wins the vacant World Middleweight title via a 15th-round disqualification over Billy Papke, and that took place in France. On this day in 1977, Eddie Gazzo wins a 15-round decision over Miguel Castellini to win the WBA World Junior Middleweight title. Took place in Managua. On this day in 1934, one of the best lightweights ever, Barney Ross, retains his junior welterweight title when he gets the third and final draw of his career against Frankie Click, and that took place in San Francisco. On this day in 1954, Paddy DeMarco wins a 15-round decision over Jimmy Carter to retain his world lightweight title. It took place at the Garden in New York. And on this day in 1943, Bo Jack wins a 12-round decision over Fritzy Zivic in a non-title fight at Madison Square Garden. This was a rematch from a fight that took place 1 month earlier, which was also won by Jack, a 10-rounder from Madison Square Garden as well. Hey, listen, boys and girls, we will not be doing a live show tomorrow. But we will be back on Wednesday with my man Larry Hazard and Alex Propali. And this week's Blast from the Past is one that was a request, but it's not on a fighter. It's on a venue. It's on the history of Madison Square Garden, so you're not going to want to miss that. So make sure you tune in Wednesday morning. Same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, I'll leave you with this. Ciao, baby.